Hey, so today I'll be talking about the best three healer supports in the game and pretty much explain why they're the gold standard of what it is when it comes to what healers should be. Now, don't get me wrong, a healer is a great unit to have on your team to keep everyone alive, but there needs to be other utility that they can provide as well, and that's why I'll be discussing Bennett, Kokomi, and Kuki Shinobu, as well as the three concepts that they embody. But before I start discussing this, there's something I want to say first. You enjoying these videos are enough for me, so thank you so much for your support. Okay, now, again like always before I continue, I must put in a disclaimer. I just wanted to say that this is me analyzing a character's kit in terms of their utility, function, and purpose in the state of the game. I am not saying that anyone is better because they play these characters, nor am I saying that anyone is worse because they don't. This is me objectively looking at the facts, drawing a conclusion, and presenting them to you all as is, like Sherlock Holmes, Scooby-Doo, or Blue's Clues, whichever one you prefer. At the end of the day, on whatever hemisphere of the Earth that you are on, you can play whoever you want, however you want, and that is completely fine. The point of a game is meant to give you enjoyment, and as there is a little joy in the world, I can only hope that you at least enjoy Genshin the way you like. Now, that all has been said and done, let me start discussing from the order of release. So first up is Bennett.
Teamwork is dreamwork!
Now, as we all know, Bennett is pretty much the best healer in the entire game, and not for his ability to heal, really. He can heal up to just 70%, which is enough to keep you alive, but the main part of his kit is the massive attack buff that he can give. His concept is contribution. His attack buff is a massive help to so many teams and characters. Pretty much everyone in the game deals damage based on attack stats, whether solely on attack or some sort of hybrid scaling of attack in EM or attack in HP or something else like that. Bennett provides a massive attack boost based on his own base attack in addition with his C1, which boosts even more, while also simultaneously working in conjunction with the 4-piece effect of Noblesse Oblige, which also happens to have the same cooldown as his burst. Pairing him with another power unit is also a common strategy, allowing for Pyre Resonance to provide further attack boosting. With every other dedicated healer we've seen in the game, Bennett is the only healer who's able to both streamline healing and defensive support in one talent, making him a perfect all-in-one balanced defensive and offensive support character. Not to mention, there are quite a numerous amount of characters in the game who have attacks that can snapshot, an ability that allows you to capture the stats of when the skill is activated, and to essentially retain those stats and deal damage based off of it for the duration of said skill. Bennett's burst makes it super easy for all of these characters to capitalize on that. Bennett and Xiangling are the perfect example of that, allowing for high off-field damage from Xiangling's Pyronado, even after she leaves his inspiration field or swaps off. Bennett contributes so much, and it pays off so well for the rest of his team, specifically in pushing them forward to deal crazy good damage. Moving on to the next healer, we have Kokomi. Now, as we all know, Kokomi had a bit of a rough time during her release. She was deemed quite a useless healer that didn't really have the best of any world. She could heal decently, but nothing crazier compared to her 4-star counterpart Barbara, in which Kokomi actually spent more time on field to heal, when all Barbara had to do was just point, wink, and spin. Her damage was abysmal, given her unique passive that essentially traded in all of her crit rate for an extra 25% healing bonus. And her Hydra application was actually pretty decent, but not great, especially since she cannot replace her Bakikurage and, Xingqiu existed. And if that wasn't enough, her intended artifact set hadn't even been released yet, meaning a part of her playstyle was just completely missing. She was shoved to the side for the time being. For the monkey brain, people just didn't get it. This was because her utility was more soft-spoken, but people didn't want to and didn't understand this. But as the game progressed and left that horrible stain of a controversy behind, something happened. People started realizing how good Kokomi actually was. First instance of this was when she was utilized in freeze teams. Her Bakikurage, or jellyfish, I will just call that from now on, was a perfect off-field applicator of Hydro that could be placed directly onto an enemy. Mona was the previous unit that would take on this role, but her Hydra application was almost non-existent. The only saving grace of her kit for freeze teams was her burst ability to give damage bonus, but that wasn't really worth it when she couldn't keep enemies frozen in place so the Cryomane DPS could deal out damage. She could also equip the Tenacity of the Millilith 4-piece set to further boost freeze damage, and the 2-piece effect indirectly boosted her healing by giving her some extra HP. Next instance of this was for taser teams. While not the best driver for taser teams, using Kokomi at the forefront as the driver of the team did allow her to free up units like Xingqiu and Sucrose for other teams, giving them a chance to shine elsewhere. However, the final instance of where Kokomi truly found her place was when Dendro was released, along with its many subsequent reactions. Her concept came to be known as unification. Hydra's the glue of so many teams, and Kokomi held so many of these teams together. Her Hydra application from her jellyfish, paired with her utility being a healing driver, allowed her to be the perfect foundation for any Bloom, Hyper Bloom, and or Virgin team. Hydra applied after Dendro would create one more Bloom after ICD, allowing Kokomi to create multiple of them, being a Hydra catalyst. This is especially true for Bloom and Virgin, since they would also deal damage to the active character when exploding. Kokomi could easily apply Hydra for balloons to be created, while also keeping everyone alive from them. Kokomi became the only Hydra unit that was able to have both utilities in one, allowing her to become the glue of many of these teams.
Lightning terrified!
And for the last one, Kuki's concept is a bit of both, being hybridization. Her kit was pretty underwhelming upon release, especially being Electro's first healer and having low damage and slower Electro application than other units. However, just like Kokomi, when Dendro was first introduced, pretty much everything changed. Hyper Bloom was discovered to be a broken new meta team that could deal consistent bouts of damage, and despite not being able to crit, it was able to have really great accuracy by being able to home in on enemies like tracer missiles. This reaction triggered whenever Electra came in contact with Dendro cores, and there yet to be an Electra unit who could do that quite consistently. However, Kuki was the best for the specific role. Kuki's elemental skill had almost perfect uptime and could consistently keep everyone alive while being the driver for damage. Her Grass Ring of Sanctification followed the active character around and dealt AoE Electro damage around them, applying Electro to enemies and Dendro cores every 1.5 seconds. Whereas Bennett gives offensive support, Kuki is straight up the offense. Additionally, Kuki's streamlining EM to heal and deal damage made it a lot easier for her to do both jobs quite well. Kuki's role as a driver is actually really interesting, as she is one of very, very few who is a driver and is the main cause of damage, whereas usually drivers are the units that allow other units to deal the main portion of damage, such as previously said, Kokomi creating blooms so that they can explode. She and Toma both share the spot, leading the charge in their respective Dendro-related reactions, Hyper Bloom and Virgin respectively. And while Raiden Shogun was able to drive Hyper Bloom with her elemental skill, it could actually proc that reaction quicker due to the shorter interval of 0.9 seconds. Kuki prevailed as the free-to-play option that doesn't break the bank. That, and, Raiden was usually better when she was built on a more common ER build as a burst DPS. I will say though that the only disappointing thing is that I wish her something in Kuki's kit, whether base kit or with constellations, boosted Hyper Bloom damage. To be fair though, Hyper Bloom is so goddamn broken that I can't even complain that much. There's also another character that I wanted to talk about, but I had already recorded this video before he came out, and I didn't want to re-edit it, so that's why. And that character is Baiju. His kit is pretty well made, allowing for decent Dendro application, healing, and shielding to prevent interruption to carry his teammates through. He even has a support passive that increases the damage of Dendro reactions based on a percentage of his max HP. Most Dendro teams really appreciate having enough application and healing in one, so Baiju definitely satisfies this role by combining the two together. The only issue that prevents himself with him is that his Dendro application is single target, so that is quite a shame. So yeah, these are the 3 big healer supports. I wonder if Hoyo will ever make another one of these types of characters to end up performing in a way that can help lead a new playstyle of the game. We still have at least 3 new regions full of playable characters, so one can only hope that can come true. You already know a button to press if you want to see more on a regular basis, and if you have something to say, I can only hope that it's nice. Thank you, bye!